Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Javen Friedel. I am the one who runs eSports Resolved, the Twitter account for daily competitive tips and news. Today we're going to be going over a video based on how I see my metrics and how I judge on where the meta is going to shift and where I can pull a lot of the tips and suggestions that I will go looking forward. This was originally one video and it ended up being 25 minutes long, so now I'm going to break it down into 3 different parts. Just milking that content. Maybe we'll be able to keep this one at like a 10-minute perfect ratio for that YouTube algorithm. But this is my Twitter account here, so definitely hit me up, follow me, yeah, whatever. I'll save the shoutouts for after. Let's get into the video. So I wanted to go over a couple of ways that you as a player can look at what is generally doing well without playing thousands of games. Nobody has time for that, and the game changes so frequently every 2 weeks that we can never be certain about how well the game's going to be played. Professional players still haven't mastered this game because it changes so often, and they play quite literally 14 hours a day. So these are some ways that you can speed up what your general knowledge of the game and what you should be looking out for. So first website and resource that we're going to be using is champion.gg. This is a website that gets into League of Legends backend, pulls a whole bunch of statistics from tons of champions, and then formulates a whole bunch of them in equations all for you, right? I'm going to go into a little bit more in depth than that, but first of all, let's talk about some statistical bias. So off the bat, on a new League of Legends player, a lot of people try to look at win rates of champions. Right off the bat, that sounds like a very logical thing to do. If you look at a champion that has a 60% win rate, oh, well, if I play that champion, I must win 60% of the time. Now, that's a huge statistical bias because there's a lot that go into League of Legends and the complexities of it that having 60% win rate might say something about the champ, but you're definitely not going to win 60% of your games just for picking up a champ for that reason. Let's go into a couple of them. So if we take a look at Aurelion Sol here, let's click in. Let's go to his statistics here. So he's got a solid 54.18% win rate. Do I think Aurelion Sol is a bad champ? No. Do I think he's 54.18% win rate worthy? No, not that either. And by looking a little deeper into his stats, you can start to see some evidence that that's not true either. So for instance, this is a 54% win rate, but Aurelion Sol only gets played in 1.19% of games, which in this case is not too bad. We're looking at a sample size of just under 11,000. So he does get played an okay amount, not the least. He's 32 in category right now. But if you actually look at it too, his win rate by games played, if you play less than 50%, he's only at a 51.49, which is right in that area where that could be statistical anomaly. He could have just gotten put with champions that are very powerful as well and could have nothing to do with his necessary quality of skill. And as it goes on, you can see that his win rate goes up a lot. Right? You go all the way to 200 plus games and he's got over a 60% win rate. So a statistic like this matched with the play rate like this, you can almost suspect that the only reason why this win rate is so high is because the people that main Aurelion Sol and only play Aurelion Sol to his fullest capabilities are the ones that are inflating this average. So that's not entirely fair to look at it and see, hey, Aurelion Sol is a great champ. The much better way to look at things is actually a balance of all the different things the champ does throughout the course of a game, including its play rate, the experience of its player base, etc., etc. And they already do that for you on this website as well. They call it the overall performance ranking. So here, I'm sure Aurelion Sol is not too far up on this list, but you could even see the top person for top right now is Aurelia, and she doesn't even have a 50% win rate. A new player would look at this and say, oh, that champ's trash. She loses more games than she wins. I don't want to play that champion. But if you go further into statistics, like how often she kills in comparison to her deaths, her assists, her KDA in general, as well as her damage, yada, 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 across the field, right? You can start seeing a better representation of how this champ actually plays throughout the course of a game. And if you click into this too, I imagine that her win rate for normal games played is still fine. You're always going to see this go up. And this for Aurelia is actually not a good example because I believe some of these numbers of playing, 151 to 200 games isn't quite possible yet considering she just got updated. So these are probably going slightly on the old Aurelia statistics. So this is one good way to see a good performance of champs. But even this isn't a good demonstrator. One big purpose that I saw for this is right now, Alawi is ranked 8. on this website. And even going further into the details, it's much harder to see why she's ranked rank 8. Her damage dealt is one of the highest in this category. Or sorry, that's Camille. There we go. Highest in this category at 23,000. The next that I see that is even close to that, you're jumping all the way, almost Quinn's there, I guess, way down here. Her damage taken is also the highest. Her total healing is also the highest, which means even though she's taking so much damage, she's also bringing a lot of that damage back. Her minions killed are a solid amount. It's not like she's not getting kicked out of lane or anything like that. So I don't see why they're giving her a rank 8, which is why this is actually going to be on one of my lists for majorly underrated champions right now. But going into it a little bit more, you should really be looking at these statistics and then looking at other sources as well and seeing where trends generally match up. So another good resource to do that is going to be League of Graphs. So I would take a look at this as a brief overview. And then I'd come to this website and go deeper into things. So Aurelia right now, you can go into just general champion statistics, make sure that all the stats match up, because some of them, it's a little wonky between the stats websites. But then here you can actually go further into details with things. The other website would give you a quick overview, but this one, if you're like, okay, what are they skill ordering? What has the highest win rate skill order? It looks like the most popular one is QEWQQ. Which is generally this one as well, but looks like a 49%, so a slight increase in win rate is actually EQWQQ. This really doesn't matter. Again, we're going back into statistical anomalies with the 6.1%, but it works the same for runes. You can see the difference in if you took a different rune instead of the most popular rune, and so on and so forth. Now, again, this is all still statistics, and there's a lot to be weary of, asterisks about, when we're comparing just statistics, because real world scenario of you just picking up this champ probably isn't going to play the same way as what the statistics are spitting out, but it's going to give you a rough idea. Another good way is to take professional experience. So that could be me, that could be other YouTubers that you trust in, professional players, things like that. One that I like to go to because I find he's fairly cognitive and logical in thinking about what champions are best is nerfplease.com. He's a champion player or a challenger player that makes a list every single patch. He's about a week late on all of it though. Him ranking honestly every single champ for all the roles into different tiers, God tier, tier 1, tier 2, yada, 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 and he ranks the champs that he thinks are best. So I would also take a look at this. I'd take a look at the stats websites, so then you got some opinion, you got some statistics, and then also match that against what my advice on where the meta is shifting, as well as what you're generally good at. Are you good at a champion that counters Anivia? Then that's not really a problem for you, is it? Or are you already a Anivia player? That might be really good for you because you realize that your champ is very good, but I'm sure you're well aware if you main them. Or if you just somewhat play them, you might want to play them a little bit more, so on and so forth. I would also compare all of this and the stats and everything to the patch notes. Try to find a real reason why something is becoming more powerful than it was in previous iterations. If you can do that, you can maybe even understand what part of that champion's playstyle you need to focus on and further. What is your win condition? Why do you do what you do is always a great question to ask when you're playing a game and on any champion and on any new game. Every game is a different matchup of champions, and to be honest, statistically, you could have a 30% win rate against an opposing champion or something like that. That doesn't mean that you're going to lose, right? You just might need to be playing your champion a little bit different than usual. One other way, which again, I'm very weary about just looking at what pros are doing, but Pro Builds is also a very solid website to be looking for when looking at new trends coming up. These teams that people are playing for have analysts on staff, coaches, that their entire job is to do what I'm explaining how to generally do right now. And so you might see pro players starting to do something new that is completely different. Like Rageblade Jhin was done first, obviously, by the pros in solo queue, just testing out how good that is. And then the community picked it up at large, and we realized how to play it a little bit more. Again, do not copy these builds. Do not copy the play rates. Do not think that these win rates are going to be true to you whatsoever. This is just another tool in your toolbox to take a look at what's being played, what's doing well against what, and so on and so forth. Because if you pick up Xayah right now and you build this, you'd probably do okay. Even if you took these runes, you'd probably do okay. The problem is that they are playing Xayah at a whole different level than even like diamond players at this point, that they could be taking something very, very weird that they can utilize very well, but you can't. So a lot here you're going to see things like Mercurial Scimitar and things like that, because they're very, very good at using that instantaneously. At lower ranks around bronze or silver, I wouldn't even suggest that, because either you're going to forget it's in your inventory, or you're not going to be able to utilize it to its full effectiveness, and I don't consider it's gold efficient. Do I not think that you should try it, you should learn, you should get better? That's true, but I believe that there's building blocks along the way, which is basically what my Twitter is for, is trying to bridge that gap between professional esports, high tier elo, and lower tier elo, trying to find where those building blocks can be placed, where it is most strategic to do this. And this is just another tool in doing that. To make things a little bit easier on you guys, I believe I'm going to be making more videos about this, about how to help yourself, teach a man to fish kind of thing. But then also I'm going to be doing a monthly newsletter. That's going to be something that I'm going to be putting out probably within the next week or so for this next month coming up in the last few patches that are going to go way more into detail and probably cover everything that I'm going to cover in this 3-step video guide. So I appreciate you guys coming out to the show today. I'm still fairly new to all of this new video creation and everything like that. So I appreciate if you give me any comments down below about how you feel, but then definitely follow me on Twitter. That is where my main talk is, everything like that. My Twitter handle is at eSports Resolve. I'll put a link into the description, as well as all of these tools that we've used today. And I guess I'll see you in the next episode.